Yeah.
Yeah. So look at this catch made by Antoine Davis. What do you think about that?
Good catch, good ups. Gets up there, jumps. Look at that. That's a 40-inch vertical right there out of that guy.
You think that is? Okay, so it got us to thinking about this. Remember this? Remember this catch by that amazing guy named Julio Jones?
We need to get Antoine's number.
Unbelievable.
And you see the ballerina tip in? Look at the toes, David. The toes. That's elegant, my friend. We need an expert. Oh, speaking of Falcons, we got the head coach, Dan Quinn, there. Dan, thank you for joining us on Coast to Coast. Can you explain to us what we saw, what Julio Jones did? He made it look effortless, but I know it's not.
It's totally not, but honestly, for those of us that know him, we see those catches all the time in practice. So it's not surprising. We've come to expect it, but it doesn't make it any more, any less challenging. He has the quickness of a smaller guy and the balance of a smaller guy, but the size of a big guy. So he's challenging in lots of ways, but it doesn't surprise us, but nonetheless is amazing still.
Seeing him day after day, what impresses you the most about Julio?
No question, it's the work ethic.
It is, okay.
Coaching against him, prior, you knew how tough he was, the competitor. What you didn't see was all the things that happened behind the scenes. The full speed at practice, the in and out of breaks, making those kind of catches at practice. And it's those things that I appreciate about him so much.
All right, so what has the offseason, I'm sure you're chomping at the bit to get the OTAs going. What has the offseason been like for you since we saw you at the Super Bowl?
Well, it's been a great offseason, and honestly, from there you go right, into the combine and get the start going with the guys, and then into free agency. So we did that piece, and we added some guys, to the team. And fortunately, we were able to sign some guys back along. Thomas and myself, we met right after, and who needs to be back right away, and we were able to do that. And then when the players get back, that's really when the best part is. And what we did for each player, a point of attack tape. Here's some things that you can do better. Here's some things that's already really strong in your game. And we went after it that way. And then we just added the rookies a couple weeks ago. And then we get back on the grass with them, with the whole team next week.
I promise I won't obsess about the Super Bowl. I promise that, but I do want to ask a question.
Sure.
How many times have you seen the tape? 10 times?
Definitely more than 10.
More than 10 times, okay. If there's one moment there that you could change a play call or a coverage or anything, I'm guessing you've figured that. What would it be?
Yeah, I think you have to go through those lessons and learn them. And then we won't know if we've learned them until we go through the season again. And you got to be put in those spots under that stress, under that environment, and show that we can, have a different, call, technique, whatever it might be in those times. So that's when you get to apply those lessons. So it's hard to go through, but they're important in having that adversity to say, okay, this is how you grow, this is how you get stronger. We've got a terrific group of guys, and we can't wait to get back and get working together.
What was harder? You've won a Super Bowl as a defense coordinator. You've also been a part of two of the most wrenching Super Bowl losses. The Malcolm Butler Super Bowl or this past one?
Well, this past one for sure. But that one was equally, hard too. I had a personal connection here, from ownership and fans that you want to deliver for them.
Yeah.
And so when you don't, that hurts. And but honestly, when you have a chance to compete, for the highest thing, what we compete for the most, you wouldn't trade it for anything.
Who did you reach out to in the coaching fraternity to try to help you process this whole thing?
Well, I think, fortunately for me, I've got some terrific mentors in this profession that you reach out to in those dark times. Yeah, I thought you might call, and you talk through some things, and you have to go through it on your own way and make sure your team's right and the staff's right. And that's what's so great about our club. The work ethic, going back to it, right now, that's where it's at.
If there's one thing that you do really well as a head coach, Dan, what is it? What's your shining example for other coaches?
I hope, I provide a good example of how we can feature a player and know we're going to go to every single length to find out what they do best. And then we're going to try and feature those unique talents as often and as frequently as we can. So that part, a clear vision of what a player can do, and then can we make that come to life by the play call and the style and the attitude that we'd like you to play.
It's obviously worked for you there in Atlanta. And there's a story after your first year, guys are leaving and everyone's exchanging phone numbers, and that kind of rubbed you the wrong way. Tell me a little bit about that.
It did, and we had released a player, and down the hall, I heard, hey man, what's your number? And it was just like a dagger in the heart where we're trying to preach this connection. Can you go to a bigger place? And we realized at that point we weren't as close as we can be. And for us to be the best version of ourselves, man, we were going to have to really come together. So we were trying to go from being a neighborhood to a brotherhood. And that was going to be a real challenge for us. How did we change around our locker room? How did we meet different? How could we communicate better to take our connection to a deeper place? And fortunately, we've got a great group of guys that embrace that. And now how do we onboard and mentor the new guys that are coming through as well?
What did you do to the locker room? How do you start there?
Well, we redid it, number one, and put people in different spots, and we're more strategic that. We opened it up so guys could talk and communicate more.
Oh, so you might put a D-back with an offensive guard or something, just sort of fostering all of that?
Across the ball in different spots. And that was a first step. And how we'd meet and communicate, all of those things wrapped up together made a big difference.
Tell me about your new stadium.
Our new stadium,
This thing is unbelievable.
Awesome.
Have you seen this?
We were in it on, Thomas and myself, we went through on Tuesday.
Okay.
And we were in the locker room and then took the walk out to where the field's going to be. And honestly, it's one of a kind. And we can't wait, for this team and the city, this connection they have, and now let it just take off even further in the new stadium. So we can't wait.
How would you describe the design of Mercedes-Benz Stadium? It's something.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this.
And having the ability for the fan experience to be so unique and so strong, it's a great way for Arthur to give back to the fans. He's meant so much to the city, and now he's trying to pay that forward to them to provide the best experience that he possibly can. And I can't wait for them to feel what it's like.
Sunday night, September 17th against the Packers, the regular season opener of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I know, Carrie, are you there? Are you listening in?
I'm listening wholeheartedly.
I know you wanted to get to the picture at the airport with Dan, and is it 2 Chainz? Do I have that correct?
You do, yep.
David, we also have you wearing 2 Chainz, do we not? But let's go to this picture first. It's you, Dan, hanging out at the airport with 2 Chainz, and we all know that he's from Atlanta. Did he approach you, or did you approach him? Because I see the hashtag brotherhood.
We are. He is part of the brotherhood, and so what a huge connection he's had. Being from Atlanta, and his connection obviously with Julio and some other guys on the team. So. We actually flew up from Atlanta. We were both going to New York at the same time, so we got a chance to visit a little bit afterwards. And a really cool guy.
And you listen to hip-hop, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, what's your favorite 2 Chainz song?
See how quick?
All right, talk
See
to
how
it.
quick
Yeah.
he is?
Hi. You made me a believer. David, what's your favorite? David, what's your favorite?
No. What's your favorite? What's your favorite, Carrie?
Birthday. I'm just going over basic. Birthday. Dan knows that. It's birthday with an F. Birthday.
Somehow I
always
get wedged out of the
doubt.
conversation here when we go in this direction. Dan and Carrie having a nice chat about 2 Chainz and hip-hop and all that. Hey, Dan, best of luck to you. We're looking forward to watching the Falcons again this season.
Well, thanks. It was honestly awesome to be on with you guys.